Welcome back. We definitely didn't data mine your entire background. I'm just kidding.
Content Farm episode 12. I'm here with my good friend Peter, Kotor and Stick on YouTube, as always.
What's up?
And Clyde's back. Clyde's fucking back. Not your friend on YouTube, Clyde. Clyderson is back. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you. Thank y'all for having me back. It's always good to hang out with y'all.
How have you been?
Very good. It's been a busy couple weeks. Just kind of getting ready. My partner's sister is getting married here in a couple weeks, so we are flying down to Texas, and it is an outdoor wedding in 100 degrees in June. I'm sorry. I hope she doesn't watch this. I'm so sorry, but I'm still salty. I'm malding about it. So while y'all are indoors playing Night Rain and enjoying cool weather,
Didn't
we'll
need
be
to call me
outside
out like that.
melting. Yeah, literally.
While I'm outside socializing and you're inside in your sweaty fucking bedroom with the TV on full brightness and the lights turned off. That's basically what you just said. But yeah, that's cool.
Oh no, we're
Congratulations on the marriage.
Thank you. I'm really happy for Taylor's sister is awesome. We're very excited for her. But yeah, outdoor wedding in Texas. Oof. It's gonna be melting. So but we're looking forward to it.
Nice.
Yeah, just a little pretext. We're going to talk about a lot of fucking Elden Ring Night Rain today. That's going to be the main topic of the episode because I played it for 8 hours consecutively yesterday, and then I played it for 4 hours today before coming on Content Farm.
Nice.
So yeah, that's this.
Your homework.
It's been a journey. There's some other little news stories as well, but we'll wing it. We'll see how it goes.
Very excited to pick your brain about it.
Yeah, I was about to say. Do you have any pressing questions about the game? Peter and Clyde have not played Elden Ring Night Rain.
How different is it from the beta that was going around? Because I saw some of that.
The beta that was going around? I didn't play it.
Yeah.
So
no. Okay.
Although based on what I think, I don't believe it's different at all. I think it's probably very similar to the point where the game is very much definitely not technically all there in a lot of ways. There's not so much bugs and issues. There is some bugs and issues, but it's mainly just missing features, which we're gonna get into shortly.
All right.
Big time. Yeah. So basically, Night Rain is a asset reuse, asset reflip of Elden Ring with some new things in there and some additions, whether that's enemies or moves or a few locations. But it completely converts the game from a Souls-like into a roguelike.
Is it a DLC or is it a separate release?
Separate release. It's £35.
Separate release.
Pounds.
Okay. Really?
Yeah. The value, the worth of that £35 has definitely been maybe put into question. I personally think it's a good price. I actually think the games that are we talked about this last week a little bit, but games that are releasing around that price are kind of dominating recently over the last couple of years because they're usually really fucking good because they're usually not made by huge terrible companies. Otherwise they wouldn't be that cheap. And yeah, people just don't want to go out of pocket £80, $80 for a game. So yeah, Night Rain's definitely one of those. But so like I said, yeah, it's a roguelike, but there's a couple of things that I had some expectations of when I went in. I kind of thought that it was gonna be a game, with a how you play a story and maybe whether it's 10 hours or whatever, you'd see some new stuff every hour, every couple of hours or so. You'd go into a new map. Maybe there is a story there. It's very just typical FromSoft, but there is a story there. So I can't say it doesn't have a story. But I kind of expected some progression, maybe new maps or considerably different experiences. But one of the first things I was shocked to see when I started is that the whole game takes place on one map. There is a Battle Royale map. There is these things called shifting Earth, where a map event will happen. One of them is a volcano, which basically means the center of the map is split, and there's some extra bosses down there, and it kind of has it erupts sometimes, it has an effect on the map. And I think there's multiple of those shifting Earth scenarios that can happen is how I understand. So it's one map, but it's sort of vaguely changes sometimes.
All right.
Can I ask, Sean? I wanna throw a question at you.
Mm-hmm.
So and I think this might be a question that some potential listeners will have as well, which is that I'm someone who played a lot of Elden Ring. I love Elden Ring. I really, really enjoy the gameplay. I enjoy the world. I enjoy exploring. I enjoy the weapons, the combat. And I have to imagine that I'm not alone in wondering just how different does NIGHTREIGN feel from Elden Ring in terms of its physics and in terms of its like moment to moment gameplay? Does it feel 1-to-1 or does it feel like pretty close, or where would you say it lands?
1-to-1 physics and moment to moment gameplay, as in the action of damaging enemies and completing, and moving through the game is 1-to-1 to Elden Ring. If you want to get really specific, there's a new movement ability. Not like outside of combat, there's a few changes. Like you can do a super sprint, so you run really fast, and you could also mantle up a lot of objects and kind of like do double wall jumps. So you can climb over a lot of walls, which is necessary because of the way the map and the game kind of work. But it's
nice.
That's easily the most substantial difference into if you're just talking about how you interact with the controller on the map. That's the most substantial difference. Like there is new movement basically because there's never been new movement from Demon Souls to to Elden Ring. There's never been like new crazy fast movement. It's always just been like you hold circle to sprint. That's how it's always been.
All right. Well, the horse was kinda, but
the what? Sorry,
the horse.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Torrent. Yeah, that was the amount. Yeah.
Torrent was kind of new, and like it was really cool to have a horse with double jump. That's pretty awesome. But yeah, is the actual movement very few changes.
Is there? I want to ask: is exploration a key part of the game? Because I mean, as a FromSoft player, I freaking love like the exploring a castle or looking around a corner and finding a chest and finding new items. Do you find that exploration is a key part of this game, or is it not really the focus of the game?
It depends how you mean exploration, because it's a typical it's a roguelike kind of like cross with a battle royale in the sense that you really have to look at the map and like sweep the entire map. But you're not doing
battle royale.
No, it kind of feels like it has a closing circle like a battle royale.
Oh, okay.
And so if you mean literally like exploring multiple places, then yeah, you do a lot of exploring, but you're really not going, ooh, look at this fantastic cave, or look at this wonderful manor. You run in, you kill the enemies, you like loot the chest, and you dip the fuck out. You're on an extremely like strict time limit. If you don't just immediately start sprinting, then you're limiting the amount of items you could pick up before the circle closes. So you have to run around and just sweep up like everything really quickly. It's
entirely, time management sounds important.
Oh, it's so important, and it's entirely like intense, fast paced. But like me and my friends kept commenting on the fact that like you can't even take a second to like sip your drink. It's so fast paced. Like you go to a place, you kill like some difficult enemies and usually a boss, and then you have to run to the next place. Like you have to. Otherwise, or like in another scenario, you have to run from the circle, or you have to fight this person immediately afterwards, or a random map event will happen, and now you're fighting some other boss. Like you're locked the fuck in the entire time you play. You can't like take a breather or anything.
So if you have to bio break, you're just like, bro, I'm just standing in the fire and I've got to go take a leak, and the fire's gonna eat you alive. I mean, is there any point of reprieve, or are you just boned?
You're poop sucking, boy.
Yeah, I don't know if you even could like I don't know if you even could go to the bathroom. Like you'd have to know that you're not going to be like in the circle for a while, and then you'd have to make sure there's no chance of an enemy like wandering into you. But yeah, no, it's unbelievably intense. Like you have to lock the fuck in.
I'm glad you're having a good time with it though, Sean. Like I feel like I have heard mixed feelings about it. I have heard like there is people that are feeling like that like you mentioned at the outset, there is some like frustration around the assets being completely recycled. Like I think some people went in hoping to see new areas or new weapons. So I'm glad that you're enjoying the game for what it is.
I mean, I'll go through like my whole my entire overarching like thoughts. Like having played it for 2 days, I've had a really fun time. Like I just said, I've been on it like basically for most of the weekend. Yeah, a lot of that fun is stemming from the fact that the co-op like playing with your friends is so fun and so addicting that it can definitely, it's one that, when you get like a new co-op game and you're all just like obsessed with it and you just like, get like that rush from playing with your friends and like cooperating with your friends.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes,
like
we should have a word for that. There should be a word for that feeling.
Yeah, like Arc Raiders, Peter. Like when you just want to hop on it like as soon as you're all available, like just like that. That nice like co-op addiction. It's got that. Problem with that though is, from my experience, it doesn't usually last long. Like when you get those like games like, I don't know, Satisfactory or something, you usually get burnt out. That's just my experience. But everyone's different. Combat and bosses and rushing around and messing around with the different characters is fantastic. 10 out of 10. Not 10 out of 10, but that aspect of the game is all like just really solid, really fun, and it makes me keep like just want to play it all the time. But having said all that though, I do have to shit on it a little bit, because like we were talking about before recording, Clyde, there's some really glaring issues that we shouldn't still be talking about in 2025, especially in like June 2025. Like, unbelievable. So
don't say it's multiplayer.
Well, the first thing that I had to encounter was, because I purchased the game on PS5, which is where I buy most of my games, unless I have like a specific reason not to own it on PS5, only to find out on the day that the game's not crossplay, and I will not be playing with the friends on PC unless I purchased it again, which I unfortunately did purchase it again to play with my friends on PC. Which turned out to be a good decision.
Refunds on PS? Or no?
I think you might be able to, but it's very long-winded and not guaranteed.
Rough.
Yeah, so I think I just lost lots of money, but maybe I can find a way to get some of that back. Like, we'll see. But even though I wasn't scammed because it was my choice, I feel scammed because the expectation was within me that a game from such a large, well-renowned company in 2025 would include crossplay. I just expect games to have crossplay now. It's not like a thought process in my head. I think I'm like, crossplay is a normal thing, like a really normal thing for me. So I was extremely
disappointed. And they've been building this game. Yeah, they knew it was multiplayer from the day they started creating it. This is not something they decided to tack on multiplayer at the last hurdle. No. They said, we've been building this game for years as a multiplayer experience. Why would you not prioritize that during development? It makes me angry. It makes me incredibly frustrated. And I freaking love FromSoft. I love their games. I love their worlds, but I don't buy any excuses when it comes to that. That is ridiculous. They release a multiplayer game in 2025 without crossplay, without basic crossplay. What is going on here? And I don't know how anybody can make excuses for that studio. That's crazy.
Have most of the Dark Souls games been crossplay?
They don't really have. They have multiplayer, but not to the point where anyone cared. So no, they've never had crossplay, but they've never had a multiplayer focus at all. It's been like extremely optional in all of the games.
Right.
Maybe we should have seen it coming, because the multiplayer integration in Souls games has been shit since they were conceived. So maybe we should have seen it coming. But like Clyde just said, they've been touting this game as a multiplayer focus for like since it was announced. And you can't even play it like, you can play it solo, but it doesn't work. Like, you can't, like, it's not a solo game. You can't play it solo. So it's the most multiplayer game possible. It's unsoloable. And it's not crossplay. And it's not cross-platform. As in, like, cross-save. It's nothing. It's just nothing.
Wild.
It's like a multiplayer game from 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's very frustrating, and I've seen a lot of people calling them out for it. I'm glad that people are having dialogue about it. I'm glad that it's taking over Reddit and the Steam reviews. I mean, I don't know if y'all saw it. It's sitting at a mixed on Steam. It is not at a positive score. Wow. Yeah, it is a mixed. It's like people have been very blunt about, like, hey, this is an asset flip. This is no crossplay. The PC performance is kind of spotty. I think. I'm glad that people are enjoying the game, and I want FromSoft to be confident to take these kinds of interesting, adventurous interpretations of their worlds and their games. However, if you're going to do that, if you're going to actually make multiplayer your focus, then go full in on it. Like, don't do it half baked. Don't do it as an afterthought. Like, it's wild.
Yeah, there's also just some more just little frustrating things. Performance on PC is, as the whole game seems to be, mixed. Performance on PC is very mixed. I'm personally having like a pretty hard time running it to a playable degree, to the point where sometimes in boss fights I'm like,
worse than Elden Ring.
yes.
Wow, interesting. How is that possible?
How did they manage to do that?
Sometimes in boss fights I'm at a point where I'm like, oh God,
it's like literally the same engine, same assets.
This is possibly like affecting my fight, like how stuttery, like how freezy the game is sometimes, and I'm like, God. I mean, I'm no fucking technician. I don't know if it's like an internet thing, the server, or if it's just actual like bad performance. I don't know, but no. Having said that, it can't be, because some of my friends say that the game is like buttery smooth, and some of my friends say that they have the exact same experience as me. Looking through like Steam reviews and having Googled it and looked on it and Reddit as well, same thing. Some people say that no matter how they configure the game, they can't fix performance, and other people saying that it's acceptable, fine. Just one of those things. It's obviously not pristinely optimized, as again I kind of have this like expectation of sometimes. It's just, especially being a Souls game, because they're always like,
doesn't make sense.
Like Souls games are all like capped at 60 FPS anyway, so I just so like I never expect performance to be something that would frustrate me, because who cares? It's Souls, it's like 60. But just like freezing and stuttering all the time, it's like fucking difficult to play. I think
I remember Dark Souls 2 had a lot of performance issues. Like I think I had a pretty good system around then, but it just couldn't hit the frame rate. It was just so chunky. Wow. I remember that at start, before they like fixed it.
Before the remaster.
But, yeah, like the OG release.
Yeah, wow. It was the same with Dark Souls 1.
It was really bad.
You know Blighttown in Dark Souls 1?
Mm-hmm.
In the original Dark Souls version, that your console or PC would like borderline crash. No matter what you do, you couldn't do anything about it. It's just the code. Yeah, I think that's probably the main reason they made Dark Souls Remastered, which is a version that everyone's like it really doesn't look that different, and it's kind of a strange remaster. But the main thing for a lot of people is the game is like a smooth 60. It's completely well optimized, which is like people. I don't think a lot of people know how fucked like original Dark Souls is, and Dark Souls 2, as you said.
Yeah,
I will say, Sean, I can tolerate like FPS drops. But the moment it's happening in boss fights, and I feel like I'm losing runs to that would drive me crazy. That would absolutely, that would drive me nuts.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing when no one believes you. I'm like, bro, the game froze when the boss hit me with this giant 20-foot long hammer. Like, it froze.
Yeah, whatever, buddy.
I promise it froze.
I'm sure, right?
That's the same thing as saying, like, oh, he's hacking, or like, he's lag switching, or he's cheating in like PvP. It's the same thing.
That's funny.
But yeah,
Jeez, that would drive me nuts.
Interesting game. It's interesting for so many reasons, because it's such a interesting, like you said before, Clyde, like a branching out from FromSoft, but in such a big way, like big marketing, highly produced game. It's not a DLC. Like, this is a new release, a new game, very well marketed. Elden Ring, NIGHTREIGN, as like a roguelike asset flip. Just very weird. It's a really weird thing for them to take.
Strange.
It has been polarizing, and despite me being a big NIGHTREIGN enjoyer currently, I completely understand the polarization, because it's such a strange game. There's so many things about it that don't seem to make sense. Like, there's like 5 or 6 characters in the game who have like starting items, but I think most characters can use like similar weapons. I think there are some weapons that some characters just aren't allowed to hold, but I've only encountered that issue like very rarely, because when you loot, you get the items that apply to your character. That makes sense. And they have skills, but a lot of the skills are not that great, or at least even if they are technically great in terms of like, they give this, if you didn't have it, you would lost this damage or whatever. Like, they might actually be helpful, but they don't feel like, when you play, these abilities don't feel like they're just turning the tide much at all, especially against like bosses. There's maybe the bird guy who does an ability where he just smashes into the ground and does a ton of damage. Like, that's probably the best one. Like a lot of them just don't feel like they're having like an immediate impact on the game, the characters, which is a shame because I've come from roguelikes like Risk of Rain 2, where all of these characters have, not only do they all have their own like movement tech, so you're never just like walking or running around, you're like grapple hooking or you're like grenade jumping yourself. And then all of their skills are like so ridiculously different to the point where like one's a one shot railgun sniper, one's like melee only and can parry, like etc. etc. Like going from roguelikes like that to a roguelike where everyone is just running and walking, no one has any movement tech, which is something that I brought up to my friends like in the first day of playing. I was like, I think I've realized something that feels weird. Traveling from location to location is really boring because everyone just presses the sprint button. There's no one who can like dash or do a little like temporary flight or glide or teleport or blink or just slide, like a jump slide. Like there's no movement tech in the game at all. Everyone just presses sprint and goes. That and the fact that, like I just mentioned, in combat, it's rare that an ability like feels really, really impactful. It doesn't happen that often. I feel like the characters were a missed opportunity to make something really cool.
It's unfortunate.
I want to ask you a spicy question, Sean. I want to ask you something very spicy about NIGHTREIGN. Do you think, in your opinion, that if this let's divorce this from FromSoft for a moment. Let's divorce this game from FromSoft. If this was another studio that had made this game, and they had used, instead of Elden Ring assets, they'd used some other universe's assets.
So it's still a
would
flip?
This game have? So it's still a flip, but it's just a flip of a different universe.
Yeah.
Would this game still be selling like this, and would it be a 7 out of 10 Metacritic, or what do you think?
That's a really interesting question, and it's so hard to answer because the FromSoft effect, right? Like the FromSoft
I haven't even
effect
played
is
it, but I
huge.
feel like I know that it wouldn't be as successful. People would be bitching about it more. There'd be a lot more comparisons to, oh, this is a wannabe Dark Souls game because they take all this crap, and there'd be far more negative comparisons to the Dark Souls series for sure. But it would not be as successful. We wouldn't be hearing of it. I guarantee you.
It wouldn't be like major news. There's no way. It would be a game more in like the like games that have kind of blown by recently without much attention. Like Doom the Dark
Ages. It'd be like one of those games you hear about,
Doom
and
the
then
Dark Ages kind of
3
flew
years
under.
later,
Yeah,
you actually play it, and you're like, oh wow, this game's actually pretty good. I wonder why I didn't realize that. Really flew under the radar.
I agree. My intuition is there as well. The second question that I think is even more diabolical, and I think is a question probably none of us can answer, but I think is kind of interesting to think about, which is that how many of these reviewers that have given generous scores to this game are only doing it because they want to keep getting early game keys from FromSoft. How many people are reviewing the game and going, bravo, 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10, but in reality, they don't actually believe that. They actually think, this is actually kind of mid, but shit, we want to keep getting early access keys from FromSoft, so we got to keep giving good review scores. I'm curious.
I think that's just an issue with journalism and game journalism in general, is that so many sites, so many companies, so many individuals are so afraid of giving a critical review of a game that comes from a company that they may no longer get early access to, right? So as a result, you're getting a lot of these these reviews that give them more than they should get, higher numbers than they should get. It does. Yeah, I feel like it's an industry wide thing, and game journalism especially, and a lot of journalists, like, they'll get the game like early and free, and like to talk shit about it. It does seem kind of weird, and like but ethically you should be able to do it. But it just, I'm sure it just feels weird that you're given this thing, and now you're just going to talk shit about it. And that's and the most terrible part about it is they really can just revoke access for whatever reason they want. They don't even have to give a reason.
And I'm sure they do. That's the thing. Like, I'm sure they do all the time.
Oh yeah.
To people who give bad reviews.
Yeah, they can just not send you a game. They don't even have to say anything about it, you know?
Absolutely.
They could just be it. And they have all the power when it comes to that. Like it's like theaters in the Star Wars, you know? There was a lot of theaters when Star Wars came out, the Disney one. Like they were forced to keep it in the theaters and have X amount of screens shown. And if they didn't have X amount of screens showing, like they go, oh, well, you're not going to get the next Star Wars from us then, which is obviously
huge.
Massive. Yeah. It's, I don't want to say it's blackmail, but it's kind of like
similar. It's
very
definitely similar.
Yeah. It is. And it's wild that they can do it. But here we are. And obviously that's,
I hope,
well, can I direct you to the question from Clyde?
Definitely a factor.
Yes.
I'd
love to hear your answer.
I actually don't really think that that's taking much of an effect. I think because like my understanding is that the game is sitting with like, if you were to average all the reviews that I'm seeing from like people and journalists, it's kind of sitting at like a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
For one, I think people always rate things a 7 out of 10 as being like kind of mid anyway, whereas my personal out of 10 scale is obviously that like a 5 is mid. But when you say that to people sometimes, that sounds kind of off.
Just another thing wrong with the game journalism industry is this goddamn rating system. Everything's 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. Nothing 6 or below unless it's like absolute broken trash. I think Concord got like a 6 or 7.
Concord probably got like a 6.
What?
Yeah.
Whoa, that is wild. That is crazy that Concord, whoa. Like,
but yeah, I think the reason it's sitting at a 7 out of 10 is because a lot of journalists and fans do have a bias toward FromSoft games, not necessarily because they're getting free keys or getting invited to events. I think they do have a bias toward those games and the nostalgia and things that are returning in this game, which I can talk about in a bit. Also, that combined with the fact that I think people's scaling is like just way less harsh than mine, because like I just said, I would give like a mid game like a 5. I'd probably, like right now, I'd probably give NIGHTREIGN like a 6 if I'm trying to like realistically give it like a fair rating. I'd probably give NIGHTREIGN like a 6 right now. So I think the reviews are actually quite fair, taking into account the fact that people just rate things like that anyway. I don't think it's like shilling or anything. I really don't. I don't think it's shilling. I don't think anyone's paid off. I don't think anyone is scared of not getting invited. I
think it's more likely fanboyism, honestly.
Fanboyism is definitely more likely than like some shit going on. 100%.
Yeah, and from what I've seen, there's a lot of the similar game mechanics, movement, weapons, bosses. You know, so if you've played Elden Ring, it's very much the same. So that's so transferable for a lot of people, and it's just base Dark Souls right there. You know, like just that by itself. You know, people are familiar with it. They know it's good. You know, they like it, and that automatically gives it, you know, a good score, I guess. Because
I mean, look, at the end of the day, if you like Souls and you like roguelikes, you're in heaven. Obviously, you're in heaven. But it doesn't take away from the fact that, let's be honest, we could have had a Souls roguelike game with new assets and multiple maps and like way more new content, basically. That could have also been a thing. So just because we have this amazing thing, a Souls roguelike, doesn't mean it couldn't have been better still. It still could have been better. It could have been new, it could have been fresh. I sound like I'm shitting on it. I'm obviously not, you know, you all know I like it. But
yeah, I mean, I feel like it looks like, from my perspective, it should have been like DLC or something, you know? Maybe. Especially the asset flip part of it. Like, you know, it would have just used a lot of the, you know, the Elden Ring files you already had on your hard drive. You know, here you go. And of course, for them, it would force people to get Elden Ring who haven't got it, so they could get it. So they could get more money that way, maybe sell a package deal or something like that.
Yeah.
I know I'm thinking corporate, and it's I feel disgusting.
You have this corporate side to your brain. It's natural. It lives inside everyone.
Yep. Yeah, America.
But yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
But yeah, it is crazy because I think especially just the asset flip part of it is just so weird, you know, and you feel so cheated, like it feels less new. You know, even though they did add all this stuff to it. And because of, like I said, the core gameplay, so much of that is just directly carried over. it feels like it's just playing an extension of Elden Ring, right?
Yeah.
So I think that adds to the feeling cheated part of it.
There's also this like temptation of like, I think everybody who's playing it that's like sensing the asset flip, it's very easy for us to like armchair quarterback and go, why not just draw another map, and why not just make some new weapons and make some more areas? It's very easy to say those things.
To be clear, the map is new from the map in Elden Ring.
Oh, that's good.
It's just very clearly the exact same assets, as in you see all the same buildings, same interiors, same caves,
same
caves,
trees,
and the texture on the ground is the same, and the trees are the same, and everything's the same. But it is a new map, like it's a completely different shape, and it has like new landmark. It is a new, so if you can count that as a new map, then yeah, it's a new map from base game Elden Ring. I think I was just, maybe this is unfair of me for a £35 game, I don't know. But tell me what you think. But I just was expecting more than one map. That was a really big expectation from me. I thought after you beat, because the way the game works is, I didn't specify this earlier, but the way the game works is you hunt these like Night Lords, kind of like Monster Hunter on the menu. You pick like the final boss, and then you go into the map and you do a run where you fight a couple of like bosses along the way, and then once you've done all that, then you fight the Night Lord that you chose. That's how it works.
Okay.
So I was expecting to maybe go to new maps, or maps that are meaningfully different when you do a different, because you have to unlock the hunts like after you beat the first one. So I was thinking like maybe as you go down the list there'd be different maps. Not the case. Not the case. They do get harder because there's like new events and stuff, and new things that happen to you, and different enemies. But the map's the same.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. I think I did mention to you briefly before, Clyde, but do you know there's a lot of like returning stuff in the game, right? From like old FromSoft games?
Right.
You were aware of that?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
I didn't want to like
specifically
spoil
bosses like
that exactly, but yeah.
Specific bosses, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, go on, sorry.
I'd also heard that they because of their production cycle, they built it before Elden Ring's DLC was defined. So like none of the DLC weapons appear in it, which is a bummer. Like none of the DLC armor sets.
Wow.
I was wondering why that was the case.
Yeah, no dancing blades or great katanas or anything like that. So it's like I'm hopeful that they'll patch it in to to Night Rain at some point.
I'm gonna bring this up later.
That's why they're not there.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure this will be live service. But we'll talk about that later.
Interesting. Okay.
Anyway, the returning enemies has been a really cool. I've been trying to. I know there is a lot of returning enemies, but I've been trying not to like just look at a list of everything that comes back because it's an extremely cool surprise. Because I play with two friends. It's 3-player co-op. I play with two friends who are also like really big Souls-like fans, and there's just a huge like geek out moment whenever like we're anticipating a boss and we're like, who's it gonna be? And then Dancer of the Boreal Valley comes out with the same but slightly enhanced moveset in like inside Elden Ring. It's crazy. It's like it's such a strange feeling. It's like the Avengers Endgame for fucking Souls games. And Smelt a Demon. We had Smelt a Demon today as well, and that was just like Smelt a Demon. That's so funny. Like we really are pulling out like everything, like pulling out all the stops. Yeah, really cool.
I've had one spoiled for me, so I don't want to spoil it for you, but I've heard it's a pretty incredible name to hear it. So I'm just like, wow,
Nameless King.
It's neat. Yeah, Nameless King.
Yeah, he's in the trailer.
Incredible.
He's unfortunately in the trailer. I mean, yeah, there's some bosses kind of just like walking around, and those ones are usually really difficult. But again, some of those are kind of funny surprises sometimes as well. But most of the time, the way the game works is you do a day, which is where the circle closes. And then when you're in the final last small circle, you do a boss. And then you kill it. And then the day resets to day 2. You do a big circle again, goes to a small circle. You do another boss, and then if you have gotten that far and still survived, then you go to the Night Lord boss, like the new Night Rain content. Entirely new Night Rain content.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Jeez.
I mean, you mentioned before about the Shadow of the Erdtree items and enemies and content just being completely absent from the game. And I wanted to bring up the fact that I think this is probably going to be Bandai Namco / From Software's big push into live service. I really think that might be the case. What are your thoughts, people?
Really? Yeah, you'd think they'd put more effort into it if this was their big project, but
well, live service games always start with a fucking just like shell of a game at the beginning, don't they? Like it happens every time.
right,
Yeah.
Right.
But I think I remember them saying like Elden Ring was like them experimenting with open world,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not going to do open world again. It was just kind of
It's vaguely what they
something
said.
they wanted
Yeah.
to do differently.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this could be something like that too. They just wanted to try focusing on multiplayer for once and see how that works. I could not see From Software being a live service. I could see them updating it and adding new maps, new bosses and stuff, but like going straight live service, I don't see From Software.
Yeah, I get that. I can see that.
I can see their parent company wanting them to.
Oh yeah, I bet the
pushing them
parent
hard.
company is screaming in their ear for
I
it
could
to
see
happen.
Yeah.
I could see them being like, "This is their answer for it." Like, okay, here you go. Here's what we would do.
Right.
And then they'll shut them up for a bit, and then they can work on whatever next.
Yeah, they're so different. They're just such different experiences, you know, like the classic FromSoft games and how dreary those worlds are and how fantastical they are, but how slow and methodical those games are for most casual players. And I think that's just that's so different than what is being on offered at Night Rain. I think it would be a pity if they just went full tilt, you know, live service only.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, another thing with the kind of lack of new content and the reusal is I don't know how much longevity this game has. I was talking about it with my friend who was playing it with me yesterday, and it feels like one of those games, like I mentioned before, where you sweat it for a few nights with the boys, and then you really get burnt out because you've kind of seen everything, and you're not earning anything meaningful anymore. I think it's probably going to be one of those games. I don't want to say it because I've had such a fun time this weekend, but it really feels like that. It feels like it's maybe a novelty. I'm getting like novelty vibes off of it, you know, when something is so like new and exciting and fresh and it captivates you for a little bit. I don't know if it has hold. We'll see. I think if I wanted it to have hold, it would have to be like an abundance of new bosses, like multiple maps, some kind of interesting characters to play as that don't feel like they're virtually the same. Yeah, that's my thoughts on the longevity of the game. I'm not 100% hopeful. Well, I'm hopeful, but I'm not 100% confident in the direction of where that's going. Only time will tell.
It's tough. Yeah.
Yep.
It's tough too. I know we discussed this before we started recording, but at that price point as well, there are just so many amazing games. Like, I mean, we talked about Expedition 33, Clair Obscur. I mean, very similar price point, fully fleshed out game. I mean, totally different type of game, but at that, at this price point, £35 or $40, it's like, man, you can get some really stellar games for that much money. And I wonder if Night Rain will have staying power. I'm very curious to see that as well.
Yeah.
It's like 2/3 as much as Elden Ring costs, right?
Right.
Is Elden Ring 70?
Give you 2/3
60
amount of time that you'd get from Elden Ring. There sure is a lot of content there, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
I think my first Elden Ring playthrough took me 70, 80 hours.
dang. Yeah,
Very long
your play
time.
out of it.
Yeah, not as long as KCD2 still. But yeah, KCD2 took me like 105 hours to beat the story.
Nice.
It's unbelievable. You mentioned obviously we talked before about how these like 2/3 price games are like really in right now. What are like just curious, what are our favorites of those? Because there's so many, especially recently. I'll just list some, like Peter the obvious, the GOAT, Helldivers 2 is was that like
doesn't even need mentioning?
Was that like a trendsetter maybe? Because God, like
it could be.
It was so cheap and it was so just like addicting, and
Yeah,
not
so
corporate and like not offensive and not in your face.
I think I paid like $50 for the actual Starship Troopers game.
Yeah.
I maybe played that a dozen hours, and I'm like, man, this thing's flat. And Helldivers comes out, and it shows you how to make that kind of game. It's $40. Great.
Clyde, like you said,
with some other ones.
Well, Clyde said Claire Obscure. I think Claire Obscure is Is it 40 or £40?
Yeah, it's $40.
$40. Mm-hmm. Wow, that's like a 30 hour long story. With
maybe it's 50. I mean, I don't want to misquote. It might be $50.
Okay, so it's just barely not full price.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd have to look. I'd have to see a list of like all the games. I mean, there's so many incredible games, especially in the indie space that are just. I mean, I talked about this in my last YouTube video, but it is wild to me that Stardew Valley is $15. I mean, it's like you can spend hundreds of hours in Stardew Valley, like literally hundreds of hours with all the content and updates he's done over the years, and it's $15. It's like it's crazy to me. It's the value proposition for some of these indie titles is crazy. It's just wild. So yeah, I think I haven't played Night Rain. I probably will eventually play Night Rain, but I'm gonna have to give myself some space from Elden Ring so I don't feel the acid flippiness of it. So I don't feel like I just fought all these enemies before, you know.
That's definitely a good idea. There's just it's like Elden Ring kind of feels like Elden Ring brain rot at this point. Like I played, well, obviously people don't play it as much as me, but I played Elden Ring so much that like it's just second nature, and it's a lot. It's a lot to have all the same enemies again. It's been a great time. It's been so fun. But like
World, that was another one.
Oh, Pal World.
Yeah,
that's cheap, right? Like 25 or 30.
That's cheap. That's like 20 or 30 bucks, I think. Yep.
Wow,
that was a good one. Between Pal World and Helldivers 2, you know, teaching IP owners how to actually use their games. Right. Hades 2.
Banger after banger. Oh my god.
Absolute value right there.
Hades 2. Risk of Rain, Appa mentioned in today's episode. Risk of Rain 2.
It's kind of older. Like same with Deep Rock Galactic. It's kind of older, but still, it's got amazing value for the price. Oh, Path of Exile 2. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
All right. Oh, I have something I need to discuss with Clyde. 3 little words. I'm sorry if it angers you, but we have to talk about it. 1 button rotation.
Oh boy. This is definitely a divisive topic, and yeah, I mean, I understand the intent. I think there is some interesting ideas at play.
I have some context.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. World of Warcraft.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
World of Warcraft. Blizzard announced that they're implementing changes into the game that will streamline the process of complex rotations. So normally in World of Warcraft, if you imagine a character has 8 to 10 abilities, they all have different cooldowns, and you have different orders and sequences you would do these abilities in. So very, very skilled players are very proficient at, you know, stringing the right abilities, you know, in order to maximize their damage output or to maximize their healing efficiency. Well, Blizzard is now making that process easier, so that you can effectively queue up the perfect order, and you can push 1 button over and over and over again, and it'll just execute the perfect sequence of events.
Yeah.
Yes, that is happening.
As a not World of Warcraft extraordinaire, doesn't that remove a lot of like what the fucking game is? Like pressing the buttons?
It does. I mean, there's a cooldown, a global cooldown penalty of like 20% or something. So like technically it's at the best still, you know, 20% less effective, although because it just can't deal with all situations. It's obviously more than that, but it's definitely something that people will be doing, people will be using, and you'll have a lot of people saying, you know, what are you doing? And like a 1 button rotation, look at that DPS. Or you'll have people like, oh, okay, just do the 1 button rotation. It's a lot better than what you're doing, you know.
So
it's already
switching to 1 button rotation will apply a debuff to you, like will make your cooldowns worse?
No. It's, I mean, technically, like when you use it, the rate at which you can use the next ability will be slower.
Oh, is that like intentional, or is that just?
Yes, it's intentional. So therefore, it can only be so optimal, you know.
Wow.
So
it's such a random.
It's like a penalty. Yeah, it is weird. I mean, why not just make the rotation easier? There's so many ways to get around that. And someone drew a chart of like your skill level and how it goes. You know, it starts low and up here it gets really high, and then the one button rotation skill level is just a line. So you have like the people below the bar, they're going to be like, don't even bother pushing buttons, just do one button. And then the people above the bar, it's saying, don't touch one button. You know what you're doing. You know, play it. And so it's so divisive. It's such a weird time for them to do it too. I just don't understand.
Is this retail World of Warcraft or classic or both?
Yeah, retail.
Yeah, to give you some context, Sean, as to why this is so divisive, is that I think there's a fair number of people in retail that are concerned, I think pretty legitimately, that this will discourage experimentation. It will encourage everyone who's, you know, trying interesting or wonky builds. People will, ostensibly just get mad at them for doing suboptimal DPS and just say, hey, don't do your wonky build or don't do that wonky loadout. Just do the one button, and it'll encourage bullying. It'll encourage, you know, groupthink into that. And I think that is a fair concern. I think there is a high likelihood that that will become, you know, the norm in pickup groups. Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I understand the intent of trying to give accessibility to people who don't have the dexterity or the muscle memory to, you know, perform at high level or, you know, play at those high levels. I understand that intent, but it does seem like a wonky solution. And yeah, Peter, what are your feelings on this? I'm curious. I mean, you're a WoW head, so how do you feel about this?
I mean, there's some ways that it could be good. Like if you're unfamiliar with something, it can kind of teach you how to do it. And, you know, if you're not very good at the game, it can kind of, you know, like bring you up there. But far more negative things, you know. I feel like just the community in general will kind of use it as a crutch. And instead of people who aren't good at DPS, you know, what you do is well, if you're mean, then you'll tell them, you know, get good. And if you're friendly, then you'll say, well, here's how you do it. Here's how you get better. But with the one button thing, you just tell them, don't worry about it. Just press the one button. And it just becomes an easy out, you know, and it becomes an excuse to not learn, to not improve, like you were talking about.
I think that's what I meant. I think that's what I meant earlier when I was saying, like, does this not remove part of the game? I think I kind of meant like skill issue. Like it feels like a skill issue a little bit, but I don't know how skillful is pressing the fucking like, you know, abilities anyway. So
some of the rotations are extremely complicated, and they are complicated under very, very intense circumstances where not only are you in a raid where there's like floor effects to be aware of and timers to be aware of and other ads and mechanics and threat to be aware of, but you have to do your abilities in very particular orders and circumstances, and there is a lot of nuance to it. It's not as simple as, you know, will a one button solution really be perfect all the time? I think for me, my bigger question is, where does this end? I mean, where does this lead to? What I mean, once they go, okay, fine, we'll give players this one button streamlining solution, then the mob of players goes, well, wait a minute, if you're going to let us do all of our abilities with one button, why can't we just have a single button to just dodge all the enemy's attacks? Like some people don't have the dexterity to dodge enemies' attacks.
It's the one button part of it is too much. I know in retail, like I'm pretty sure the base game, I play with so many mods, like I forget what base is, but I think in base, like some abilities will light up on your toolbar when like you get a proc or something. Like if they did something like that, like it would just light up the next ability you would click. It's kind of like a guide instead of, you know, you just press the button and it does anything. I think that would be cool. That would like help people learn rotations. They learn where the abilities are, when to use them, stuff like that. They're not just pressing a button and just shit's happening. Like it doesn't help them, you know?
Right.
and I'm sure some people can learn from it, but it just doesn't feel like the best way to teach them. And like I said, at the end, it feels like a crutch, and it's not going to help the people it wants to help, and the people who don't need it, it's just going to hurt them, and because of the ways they're going to see it from other people playing.
In a weird way, it discourages communication. It kind of encourages bad communication to just people to shut down or just use this one button thing, go away, shut up, and do that. But it also discourages actual communication to like improve, to actually get better. And an example of this I would give is back in ye old days, Peter, when I was a WoW raider and I was on my rogue. I remember we did an encounter. I can't remember which dungeon it was or which it was a raid, but I remember I was on my rogue and there was another rogue in the raid that was doing significantly more damage than I was. And I remember I asked him, "Hey man, how on earth are you destroying the DPS meter on this boss? Like we're comparable gear, like we're comparable strats, like what is going on here?" And he actually pointed out something that I was doing incorrectly. He said, "Hey, when this boss does this effect, it knocks everybody back like 5 yards or whatever, or 20 yards or something." He said, "You're not positioning yourself in order to get knocked back into a good location. You're getting knocked all the way across the stage, so you're having to walk really, really far back to the boss. Mm-hmm. Whereas I'm on the right side, so I'm getting knocked and I can immediately go back to DPSing." That was a learning moment for me. My stupid, brain didn't understand that mechanic and how to optimally position, but because I was willing to ask and have that communication, it was like a learning opportunity, right? But one button mechanics and the ultimate end of that, I think, doesn't lead to good communication. At least it probably doesn't. I think it leads to bullying. I think it leads to antagonistic communication. I don't know. I would worry about that. But yeah, there you go. I was a dumb rogue raider, and I needed to ask for help from the big boys.
I didn't know WoW raids went that deep.
Oh yeah, there's like this site that tracks your raids, and you can compare your performance with other people in the guild, or other, what do they call it? When you're trying to get the best
progression. I mean, a raid's progression is their progress throughout, a content tier, or best in slot gear is what you're referring to, or I don't know what you're.
When they're getting on the charts.
Oh yeah, just like a ranking or something.
Yeah. I forget what it is.
What do you compare? DPS and healing and shit?
Oh yes. yeah. Like raw DPS, raw healing.
Sean, if you've never seen like competitive rating, you absolutely should. This goes for anybody listening as well. Like if you haven't seen like the night of a content launch in WoW, parsing. It is so exciting to watch top guilds tackle new content and try to strategize in real time and figure out encounters while there's like 30 guilds all streaming on Twitch, and they're all trying to beat these very, very difficult bosses with incredibly complicated mechanics, like 15 spinning plates and the ground is shrinking beneath their feet and things go horribly wrong, but that's the exciting part. It's great. Oh, it's really great.
I've seen videos of WoW raids so many times, and it's always just like 10 fat people like standing still, like shooting blue spells at the boss.
Yeah, retail WoW is much more complicated. Yeah, the
fucking jumping from platforms and shit. What the fuck?
Yes.
Make sure you knocked back 20 feet onto this exact micropixel in order for maximum DPS. Yeah. Like what the fuck?
Mind control that unit. Go into that portal. We have this many timers and up. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh no. It's wild.
It's like you can't do any damage in this phase unless you have a grenade, and then you can. So let's go farm some grenades before we go to the boss.
This fucking Call of Duty.
Yeah. Oh and if you have this obscure potion that nobody ever drinks otherwise, and you can do like +5 more DPS. It's like really obscure stuff. But so people parse on that, and they try to get the best ranking for the boss they're on and stuff. And what's great about that site is I've seen other people doing better than me on some bosses, and just looking at their parses, I can see what abilities they were casting at what time, and which ones they were casting more. This ability was far more used than this one, and I rarely use this one. I can kind of figure out where I'm at and how to improve and stuff like that. Whereas if it was the one button, you're you're not even thinking about your rotation anymore. You're just kind of focusing on the movement, on the mechanics, and you're not, it's kind of taking your brain away from thinking about situational uses of stuff, which is huge. Like, I should use the AoE attack only when there's, more than 3 enemies around me, but I can use this one when there's more than 2 enemies around me. But this one, at least 5 enemies have to be around me. And like, this one only works from behind, and like, and like if you're just about to disengage with the boss, you should use your burst stuff because you're not going to fight him for a bit. Like a whole lot of situational stuff that I feel like it's part of the fun, figuring that out and working it into your gameplay and using your brain to have like flow charts in your mind and stuff. Whereas just pressing the button, it just does things. And
I want to paint you an image, Sean, in your mind, very, very briefly. Okay, 25 people have shown up to fight this boss. Okay, they've been fighting it for 3 minutes. Okay, and they've been dancing. Yeah, 25 people with their own nice PCs. They're all.
That's the reduced size. Originally, the raids were 40, and that was a bit too unwieldy.
And they've been fighting this thing for 3 minutes.
Okay.
Mm.
And in the final moments of it, they've been watching its health go down very slowly, and the boss is floating at around 2-3%, and it's not going down. And the boss has just hit its enrage timer. So in the next 15 seconds, everyone is going to die because it's going to become so powerful, it's going to one-hit everybody. Okay, so the raid leader then calls everybody to spread out and says the boss has 1% HP left. Just use all of your spells. Use everything you possibly can. Throw everything at it to try and defeat this boss. And it's going dead. And it gets down to the last 5 or 3 or 4 people, and the boss dies, and everybody celebrates. I mean, that is the cacophony of euphoria, of celebration that World of Warcraft raids have. If you haven't experienced a World of Warcraft raid like that, you've missed out. It is really,
it's not too late for me.
Special experience.
I'm only 25.
It is not too late.
I've had a few runs like that. Those are good. Those are the good ones.
Yeah. It's like everybody just like collapses and the boss is dead, and like all 3 people that are alive are like start resurrecting. It's just it's I mean, Peter will tell you there is no other feeling in gaming like it. It's wild. It's incredible.
Pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty nice.
I played Destiny raids. Those are
it's like that.
Those are those are 6 people, and they sometimes go on for like
6
a couple of hours.
That's one more than I can count on one of my hands.
They sometimes go for a couple of hours if you're bad. Since we've gone down this like World of Warcraft rabbit hole, you brought something to my mind that's quite funny. You know how last week, Peter, we talked about like the Dr. Lupo chess thing, and like and talked about the fact that we love these like weird controversies that are really just like huge news for the unemployed. Like that's really what all these controversies are. But like you just reminded me, since you were talking about the WoW raids, of another really big one that's just 100 times more cringe because it's such a nothing burger, but it was actually huge news. Like it was a huge drama at the time. Clyde you might know Peter already. Are you familiar with PirateSoftware?
I knew you were going to say it before you even said that. I'm like, is he going to talk about the PirateSoftware Roach event? I know he is.
Okay,
but you can't miss that.
But when you say event, what is the event? That like what is it? What do you think I'm talking about?
How much do you know about it? First of all,
well, what do you think I'm talking about?
The whole pirate software situation in Dire Mall where 2 of his teammates got killed, and PirateSoftware was getting a lot of flack for it because he didn't help out as much as he should have,
and he ran away.
And he ran
this
away.
Is huge fucking news for the unemployed.
And then it was so quotable because he had 2 items in his inventory that could restore mana, and he was being very careless with his mana. He's like, "What do you want me to do? I look at my mana." And like, so now I'll be watching like the hardcore deaths collages and stuff, and that's a soundbite that drops every now and then whenever you see someone running with like a full mana bar. It's like,
where he says,
"Look at my mana. What do you want me to do?
Look at my mana. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do?"
Yeah. What do you want me to do? Look at my mana.
He's also like a mage, and he can teleport great distances, and he's like not even remotely close to being in danger. He's like so far away. It's like
he's just so
Okay,
far.
but this is the thing. Now that I've got you both here, WoW heads, how wrong is Pirate in this situation?
He's not the only one wrong, but he's I think and I watched quite a few videos talking about all the different aspects of it, but I'm pretty sure that a lot of the anger isn't about that he didn't play well, but how he responded to the criticism.
Yeah.
He didn't do a full apology. He just kind of did a half-ass stuff. He played the victim a lot. When his teammates were talking with him immediately afterward, he jumped out of the Discord call like once or twice, like literally just dropped off, and he was just acting super arrogant about it.
Sounds quite childlike.
The community really hated that,
Yeah, but
like,
this is
like he could have just said, "Yeah, I'm sorry, I ran early. I could have done some," but like the most excuse he had was, "Well, everybody wasn't playing well," and so that's a huge major thing. Like I could go on a play-by-play. I can remember, all the shit that happens.
I can remember
a terrible pull by the tank.
Warcraft. I can remember.
Yeah.
I studied this shit frame by frame.
Yeah, exactly. They pulled extra mobs. Like everyone was doing terrible stuff except the healer. She was great, but she died.
Yeah.
Like
not all heroes wear capes. Not all heroes wear capes.
Right. But
I will say, I want to just say, Sean, like I've never played a hardcore World of Warcraft character, but I mean, it takes weeks to reach max level. It takes weeks to get to this if playing a lot of time. And I do have sympathy for PirateSoftware going into primate brain of fight or flight. I mean, when things go spooky and your character that you've spent weeks on is it can get one punch. I mean, can get one shot and you can get splatted immediately. Your logical brain goes out the window and you just go, I have to run away. I have to plug my ears and just, I'm sorry, everyone else, you're all dying. I am not without sympathy for that. I understand the freak out and seeing things go awry, but it's exactly like Peter said. It was his reaction to the situation that people were like, dude, just take the L, just own that you screwed up. And he refused to take it, in a mature way. And I think that's why.
Well, that's the thing too. Because the lives are so valuable, what you do is so impactful.
Right.
Being able to run out of a dungeon, that's great. But like that you stopped running from the dungeon to go back to help your team. Like that's what hardcore is about. And like what's funny to connect that further to why people are mad at him, he earlier was talking about how much he loves playing mage and like, oh, all these spells are so great, like they can really save your team. And like one of the best part of hardcore is, when you fight with your team and you almost die, but you all, you lock down and you get it and you help each other out.
5 minutes later.
No, I haven't seen that context.
And he's talking about, that's why I spec into this frost spell, so it slows them down and stuff like that. And you should do this too.
So like
people started pulling out all these clips from the past. Like there's this one where he was shit talking this other mage, like no reason in general. He was just absolutely talking shit about him. And they're like, why would he do this? So they're pulling skeletons out of his closet. They're just like pointing out all this inconsistencies in his logic. When he was after he ran, he was like, oh, I have so many gems, and I'm the jewel craft, or no, I'm the enchanter for the guild, I mean, can't waste that or anything, Like, can you imagine, like, any time you play with him, he's just going to take off? You're like, why did you do that? He's like, oh, I'm the enchanter, like if that excuse works then it works every time, and then nobody wants to play with him. And nobody did. Nobody wanted to group with him after that because they're afraid he was just going to.
This is the absolute most pathetic drama I've heard in my last 10 years on the
internet. It was so
I'm like guilty pleasure. Like I get it, and I'm like I like binge videos on it. But holy shit, this is the most pathetic thing I've ever been interested in my life, because it's something that people probably do like all the time. But I know the hardcore server and like the OnlyFans guild that he's in is like a big deal. But like, God, some people are just shit at game, and some people like make mistakes in games. Sometimes it happens all the time.
Yeah, like people are giving like death threats and shit. Like, Jesus Christ, touch grass. Crazy. Oh my God.
Like Jesus Christ. Like I think there was already a little bit of resentment building up to him a little bit because a lot of people don't like his vibe. I know he came under a lot of fire around that time because he started to come across because he made those like. He got really big off shorts, right? Like he makes shorts where he says something.
I remember you see the
authoritarian.
Yeah, you see the little shorts, and they're all like feel good tidbits, and he's talking with authority. He's like, well, listen, when you start developing a game, it's gonna feel underwhelming. You just gotta get in there. You gotta very motivational stuff, and he's speaking with authority, and you're like, and you're feeling that that kind of like coach kind of vibe coming from him. And then like I remember I watched one of his streams once. I don't watch live streams very much. I always watch clips. And like I was surprised that that's the whole stream. He just talks in that tone the whole stream. Like everything he says that's how it is, And then I remember when I was hearing about this event and I was hearing him talk about it, he just talks in absolutes. It's nothing I could do, I had to go. That's just how it is, and like in his apology and stuff, he had to bring up that I'm just a guy who worked at Blizzard and had been playing a mage for many years, and like it was like humble brags in there and stuff. It was so weird. It's and so he had a live stream where he talked with a psychologist. I think it was Dr. K or something like that. Yeah, did you see that video?
Yeah, don't worry, I've gone fucking digging.
Of the analysis? Yeah, it's crazy. He gets him to admit that he's egotistical and narcissistic. Like, he slowly gets him to admit it piece by piece.
Because
and I was like,
Warcraft.
It was so masterfully done, though. Like, oh my God. It was, and it was all over crazy. Just some stupid drama.
Because of World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft.
It was a World of Warcraft. Yep. That's the world we're living in now.
I love these like strange little drama cases, but this one really made me feel weird. Really made me feel like, am I the bad guy? I was like, am I the bad guy while I was watching these videos?
I mean,
it
depends.
I don't watch a lot of streamers, but I do have one guilty streamer that I watch a lot, which is Liam. He's a Mario 64 speedrunner. He's just really funny. He's really sarcastic. I just adore the guy. He's just really funny. Very, very funny dude. I don't watch a lot of streamers, but PirateSoftware, very much a very public, visible implosion. And yeah, I mean, it's wild, Sean, that you've not played World of Warcraft, but you've gone down this rabbit hole of like, I must know more about this drama. Like, that's just great.
Clyde, last week I went on like a 20-minute rant about chess.
Oh, really? Yeah. I missed that. Oh, dang.
Yeah. When's the last time we played chess?
When's the last time anyone fucking played chess in this chat?
It's been a hot minute for me. It's been a hot minute.
Yeah, it was a funny story about. Have you heard of I'm not gonna tell a story again. We can't. But have you heard the streamer Dr. Lupo? Like, used to play with Ninja.
Oh yes. I'm familiar with the situation where he.
You are
cheated.
Okay. Yeah. I did a segment on that last week, and it got me. I'm passionate. I'm passionate about this shit, Clyde. I'm passionate.
Yeah. I think it was a tournament for money as well, right? He was cheating in a tournament for a prize pool. Yeah.
100,000. 100,000.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not good
for a charity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was always. He had that kind of too nice of a guy vibe for a long time as well. I wouldn't be surprised if people start digging up the skeletons.
I think the funniest thing of the PirateSoftware thing is like, it's just so obscure. Like, you just couldn't describe it to somebody who didn't know what WoW was without giving them like so much context beforehand,
Right.
I mean,
like they'd be like, what's the whole thing going on with this? And you're like, okay, so there's this MMO called World of Warcraft. Okay, stay with me.
Yeah.
No, you lost me.
Okay, so hardcore is this entirely different. Now you have all these abilities and stuff. Okay, so like when you're in a dungeon is like you'd have to really just to explain this small scenario, and it just seems so so bizarre.
I mean,
yeah,
the general crux of it is understandable. He was in a fight with a team where if you die, you're dead forever, and he ran away. That's like that's the main gist of it. And it sounds
that's what I thought. That was what I thought about. Like when I first heard about him, like I mean, they made a bad shot. He ran away. But then when you see the footage and the play-by-plays, and you're like, yeah. Because I don't know if you've seen him, Clyde. But the hardcore death compilations that come out.
Oh yeah, there's some wild ones.
They're so fun to watch. Because not only are they hilarious, but a lot of them you really can like analyze them and be like, okay, he should have done this. That I see that on his toolbar. He didn't cast it. Why didn't he do that? Could have saved his butt. Right. What did he do wrong? What does his teammates do wrong? Why is he even here? And then the ones where they get out, it's like, okay, that was masterfully played. So just having to analyze his whole play and stuff and be like, you know what? Yeah, he actually played really shitty. That's terrible.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because we've been talking about the changes of these the implementation of one button rotations, and that won't even solve this problem, right? Like if you pull too many ads, one button rotations isn't going to save you. That is not going to help anyone. It's like it's like a crutch that doesn't actually solve every problem or quite a few problems, and it gives people this false sense of confidence. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes over. I'm really curious to see how it unfolds and where that
Can you
ends.
imagine one button rotation in Classic? Wow.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, some classes kind of already have that.
Why is that
right?
different? Is that because it's so much more simple?
Yeah, so much more simple. Like if you're a Frost Mage, you're just casting Frostbolt. Just Frostbolt.
Right.
Frostbolt.
Sounds kind of appealing to me. I've tried WoW Classic a couple of times. I don't think I've ever been higher than. I think my highest level on World of Warcraft ever is like level 60, not max. Like that was back when like 80 was max or some shit.
Okay,
gotcha.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
Yeah, that was maybe like 100 hours or something. It wasn't like
that's one of those games that like you're talking about playing with friends. So fun to play WoW with friends. Like I can't tell you how many times I've gotten back into it because friends are playing, and how many times I stopped playing because my friends stopped playing.
Yeah,
it's just such an important factor to the game. Definitely.
And there's nothing like raiding. Raiding is a unique experience, and you experienced it in Destiny, Sean. But it's like the feeling of like you and your homies coming together and struggling on a boss for day after day, even week after week, and then to finally beat it together. It's just like there's no other feeling like it.
I can imagine. I think the issue for me is the getting there, and like obviously I work like an 8 to 5, and I work like Monday to Friday and Saturday. So like I don't think like the feasibility of something like that for me feels limited, but there are people out there who do it. But the thing is
that's kind of the MMO thing.
Yeah, that's like the only thing they do when they're not like doing something else, which I don't want that to be the case. So
it's like it gets good, like about 200 hours in or something like that.
That's the thing.
Someone made a meme. The meme of the miner who was like he's digging a hole and like he's turned away and he's running right when he's like 2 hits away from the diamonds. Someone made a meme of that, but they put the diamonds like this huge chamber, but they made it way on the other side. And the meme was like, I only put 200 hours into Final Fantasy 14, and he just made this tiny little tunnel. It's like, oh, if you had 1,000 more hours, you'd have finally gotten to the good part.
I had a big Final Fantasy 14 phase back when it blew up. It blew up a few years ago, right?
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
And I maybe got max level. Maybe. Like, I think like I went really hard on that. It got extremely. Was it new that just come out, or did it just get popular one day?
I mean, they had a few booms. Like they redid it because when it first came out, it was terrible. It was really bad. So they kind of like did like a relaunch. They called it Realm Reborn, literally.
Yep.
And like they kind of almost recreated the world in a way, and everything. The interface, the gameplay, it was all fresh. They redid it, and it was a really well done because it just blew up in popularity from there. So there's been a couple like content patches that have brought players in, but I think that was the big main one when they just restarted the whole thing, and then people were like, oh, it's actually good. And I wanted to get back into it. I remember I had a max level character, and I wanted to join my friend who had, well, my character was max level at the time, but they had a new expansion that was like 10 levels higher. And I wanted to join them and, knock out 10 levels, whatever. But they have this main quest line that's absolutely required, and it takes so
It's
much
so
time.
long. It is so long.
It's so long, and it's so much run back in here, fetch this, fetch that, watch this cutscene. It's just, even if you skip every cutscene, and I did. I skipped every one of them. It's just like I remember I spent. Yeah, I spent like 6. Listen, I spent like 6 or 8 hours just doing that quest, and I'm like, okay, I got to be really close to catching up, right? And I went to a site and I looked at where I was. I wasn't even past the patches for the current expansion that I was on.
Oh shit!
I hadn't even gotten near beginning the new expansion, so I was like, I can't do this. This is
very long.
Yeah. No,
Incredibly
I mean, it
long.
stopped me.
It
stopped me from even getting into the game. And here's the thing: they actually sell you this book that completes the entire quest line for you.
Oh God, that's horrible.
Yeah,
oh God.
yeah. So they know how bad it is, and they're like, money. So.
Fuck that. That's horrible.
Right. It was dirty.
Man.
But it stopped me from getting. I'd have been playing otherwise. It's so stupid, and it's something that they just won't budge on. But I mean, it is pretty good. I'd say it's one of the best non-WoW MMOs currently out.
You think WoW's better?
I mean, it depends. Like retail's kind of weird, Like
well,
it's hard to say.
Yeah, since we're on it, I wasn't expecting to be on it, but since we're on World of Warcraft, I actually want to, since you're both big into it or have been big into it at different points, whatever. I want to get both your thoughts on the fact that it seems to be the case that I'm not in the community, so I don't know if this is confirmed or not, but it seems to be the case that Classic is just re-releasing every single DLC.
Yeah.
is this like
so originally? So originally, like Classic WoW comes out, and then they do Burning Crusade. It's like, oh, they're gonna do Burning Crusade. It's huge because like, there was a line that when WoW when Blizzard used to release the numbers for how many people were playing WoW, you could see the line start at vanilla. It went up for Burning Crusade. It went up for Wrath of the Lich King, and then from there it was just downhill. So it's like, okay, they're gonna do Burning Crusade, and they're gonna have to do Wrath of the Lich King. Like those two definitely. And then everything after that was just kind of no. They're not going to bother with it. So the next one, Cataclysm, they eventually did, and now everyone's like, "Oh God, they're going to do all of them now."
Right.
And now here they are. They did what Mists of Pandaria, and it was like, "Oh man, that was literally one of the worst ones." And yep, they're probably going to go through all of them now.
That's it's weirdly nostalgic for me because the first time I ever played World of Warcraft, it was on Wrath of the Lich King. I actually got Wrath of the Lich King was on the box. Was on the box of the case when I got the game. Wrath of the Lich King.
Wow.
That was my favorite expansion, man. I loved it.
Great expansion.
I went back when they re-released it in Classic. I went back and I started leveling and I went through Ulduar and my friends kind of quit before that. So
shame.
But it was fun to go back, reminisce. But yeah, it's.
It'll be interesting to see, and it's like, in a lot of ways, the community has wanted them to do this. Like they've wanted Classic to kind of go through all these expansions, but does this eventually just create an endless loop? I mean, will there just will we restart again? Will there be a third season of our third restart of it? I mean, it's like
I feel like I feel like it's gonna keep going downhill until they go, oh, okay, maybe we should stop. But maybe
I think, in my opinion, what happens is whatever update DLC they were on when they released Classic, I think that might be the stopping point. Because you have to pick a stopping point somewhere, because obviously, like you said, it can't go on forever, otherwise it's just the same game. But if you had to pick a stopping point, it makes sense for a stopping point to be the place where they released it, in terms of that was current when they released it, so now it is WoW Classic, because it's everything that was from before that time period. Does that make sense? Like, that's right. It's still not like it's... I mean, how do you... That sounds strange, but how do you handle that situation without like Like, I think it's strange that they did DLCs at all. If I was doing WoW Classic, I probably wouldn't have released any because that's not what Classic means. But yeah, obviously
it is interesting.
It was very lucrative for them, and
there's so many like
DLCs.
Yeah, there's just so many players that want to, experience Classic, but in a different form, and have seasons of discovery and all sorts of different mechanics. So, yeah, it's interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see how it evolves over the next couple of years and where it goes and what that direction is like.
Well, it won't be interesting for me.
I think they do it like as it goes. They'll look at the numbers. They'll see how many people they got hop on when they started this. Was it worth it? And then I feel like eventually they're going to hit like one of the expansions, and they're going to see so few people jumped onto it that, okay, we can't put money on getting the next one out if this one didn't even make money. It's going to be like a committee decision thing, like we didn't even make a profit from this time. Why would we do it again? We're ending it right here, right? Because they had to be forced to do hardcore. Hardcore. They were forced to do Classic as it is. The community really had to yell and scream to get it out. And, and there was so many memes about you think you want it, but you don't want it, right? It was
right.
No, I think people definitely wanted it.
They definitely wanted it.
They definitely wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
What are y'all's thoughts on something that I've heard players express for a very long time, and I think that it's a really interesting idea. Is this idea of just a full proper sequel to WoW? So a WoW 2, is this something that, it would be a clean slate. Everyone would start together. It'd be a completely new world, a completely new storyline. Is that attractive to you at all? Or is that just asking for a complete...
I think that not only does that sound fantastic, but I think that will get everyone back. I think that will get
great. It's a baseline that everyone can just hop onto.
No one's
and like you don't feel left out because everyone
lost.
has like a level X character already, and their bank is filled with stuff, and they already know all the rotations. Because the way WoW is, retail WoW is, it's so many layers stacked on top of layers, and it's like that old villain's house where like you just see a bunch of sheds stacked on top of each other, and they're all precarious, and like that's pretty much WoW at this point. So much stuff has been added. There's so many different things. It's just too much, right? And they can only change it so much. And even now,
it's Theseus.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So it would be such a great start. And honestly, like when World of Warcraft came out, I had the thought, like, man, if they could take StarCraft and make an MMO instead of just the Alliance and the Horde, if they had the Zerg and the Terran and the Protoss. Yeah. That would be so killer. And you'd have all the abilities from the units and stuff, and the units would be the classes, and you could it's just like World of Warcraft took all the buildings from the game and they made them real and explorable and reused assets that you didn't mind seeing because you were like, oh man, that's the building that I built, when I built the thing. Like I feel like that could have been a super win for them. But I've also heard talk that they could be working on Warcraft 2 because
I worry, not worry. I wonder that it's like there's so many players that have played retail that have invested so much money in MTX, in Sparkle Ponies, in armor sets, and all sorts of stuff. It's like, how do you convince those people to say goodbye to all the MTX they've invested in and move over to a WoW 2? And how do you bring those whales over? And do you just import all the MTX? That's what Path of Exile 2 has done. Path of Exile 2's solution was just, if you bought any MTX in Path of Exile 1, we will transfer it over. We'll copy it over to Path of Exile 2. So you can play it, you can use it, you can have your wings or your pet in Path of Exile 2. And I wonder...
Here's what you do. Yeah. Here's what you do, okay?
Yeah.
You take World of Warcraft, you put a 2 next to it, and you get rid of the original World of Warcraft. Boom. The Overwatch treatment. Blizzard is fully aware of how it goes. Just that's how you get them to play Overwatch, World of Warcraft 2. Just get rid of the first one, make it the second one. There you go. Now they have no choice.
Well, in my opinion, this whole how do you deal with the MTX carryover issue is non-existent. sources, for my opinion, are games such as Call of Duty, any kind of FIFA, Madden, yearly release games. These are all incredibly monetized, and it seems that every single iteration is more popular than the last. People don't care about if people are dropping like bags and bags of cash on a game, then they probably don't care about doing it again because they're either like have a bad addiction or they're
and think of the Blizzard side of this. Like, do you really want them to already have like 80 mounts when they join your game, or do you want them to start buying the new ones?
Start buying them again. 100%.
Right. Yeah. Right.
100%.
I mean, I'm trust me, I'm team WoW 2 here. I'd love for a WoW 2 to be a light of day. I think it'd be an amazing uniting moment. But there is also this other flip side, which is that if they do decide to make a WoW 2 and they botch it horribly, well, then they lose half their WoW 1 players to WoW 2, and the other half just log out and never come back in. So it's like it could go south. I mean, it could go really badly. So it's like if they're going to do it, they need to nail it. Otherwise, they're going to lose half their whales or more.
So. And like that's what they did with Overwatch 2. Like they just even they weren't very certain that it was going to be good. So they're just like, okay, no more Overwatch 1. Overwatch 1 is Overwatch 2 now. So there we go. Problem solved. No one's going to be playing Overwatch 1 because we just got rid of it. Like
and they burned a lot of Overwatch fans doing that. I mean, they burned a lot of people.
Yeah, they did. Like it was dumb. It was, they were like, oh, we're reimagining the sequel when really it's like the most nothing burger sequel I've ever seen. And it was scummy because like they changed the microtransactions to, they kept, some of the carryover, but they had a totally different system and new stuff and, all the crap. So, I mean, they could do that with WoW. They could just have, just the retail version would become 2, and they'd still have all the classic. And then the classics, Sean, could still go up to the most recent one because it wouldn't exist anymore. And it would suddenly become classic, right?
Wow.
So boom.
Classic.
You're literally
2 birds with one stone.
You're in their fucking heads right now.
I'm in there. I'm in the corporate mindset, bro. I got that. I got the gears spinning.
That was
put me on the committee, man. I know how to solve this shit.
That was the most big brain thing I heard all day. Holy shit.
Have you seen the meme of like the escalating galaxy brain guy, and at the end he's just like neurons?
Yeah, that's
he's
Peter.
like
that's Peter right now. Holy shit, you locked in.
Yeah, I hope they don't see this, Blizzard.
Oh man,
they see everything.
I
remember when Overwatch 2 said they were going to have a single player campaign.
Yep. I remember when that was one of the biggest selling points of Overwatch 2 was the single player campaign.
Yeah.
And guess what? Never freaking came.
I thought I had a Mandela effect.
Oh, really?
But no, they did say that. They did say that.
Yeah.
That wasn't
it was literally the biggest bullet point for Overwatch 2 was PvE, talent points, different missions, play with your friends co-op, like, level progression, like all that. And it just dematerialized the moment it was born. It made it even worse that they pushed it over, because now you're stuck with this new game that you didn't even want to play, and now you're not even given the stuff that you were promised when it came out.
Ugh.
It was terrible, man. I'm glad Rivals came out, because
I'm glad Rivals came out. Overwatch didn't deserve to have like a monopoly on that genre. No way.
No,
not in a million years.
Yeah.
Fuck them. Ooh, all right.
And what's funny, after Overwatch came out, after Rivals came out, then Overwatch was like, oh yeah, by the way, next month we just so happening to be, launching this new system that's completely revolutionizing the game.
Like Marvel
we've been working on this forever. We hadn't been sitting on it and waiting, or anything. So
how convenient!
It's very convenient for them to have a massive patch come out after
the line
Rivals
is going down really drastically. Then you got to reveal,
Yeah.
Wow.
And they literally added like broken stuff into the game, and like, yeah, we know we're gonna break the game, but people will like it.
God.
We feel it's about time, I don't know what made us feel it's about time, but it just felt right now,
Sean, we've talked a lot today, and the only thing you need to know is that you've got to experience WoW rating in some capacity, whether it's a video or something like that. It's you can't let your only contact point with WoW be PirateSoftware. You've got to see the rating.
Well, what did sound intriguing was when Peter mentioned like the deathless, like the hardcore deathless, the hardcore death compilations. That sounds interesting. Just like breakdowns and stuff in general is always
playing that game hardcore is such a completely different experience. Like the game wasn't meant for hardcore. There's just so many things that will kill you. Like without you know, it's massive knowledge check on the game. If it's your first time playing WoW, don't. No, you'll get killed by the most random shit. There's just so many things that can go wrong, which is why watching the death compilations is great. It's like, oh, he didn't know there's a level 47 elite monster that pats around here. It's like,
do these videos make this understandable for non-WoW players though? Because I have a feeling they probably don't.
I mean, there's a big channel called like hardcore WoW death compilations or something, and it just puts out the deaths. And every now and then it'll like zoom in on like, you know, like on the toolbar, like, you know, on an ability he should have used or something. But most of the time you're just watching it and it's just people doing stupid shit. And a lot of people in the know and WoW were like, I know what's coming up.
Something that I like about these kind of situations that blow up to the point where they blow up outside of like their own community. For example, PirateSoftware, which was literally covered by like every big streamer on Twitch, even though it's just some guy dying in a game.
It's because he was such a big streamer. If it was someone lesser in the guild, it wouldn't matter. But he was literally the biggest streamer in the guild. Am I wrong?
Yes.
He was like he got like top Twitch like a year or two ago or something like that. Like he just blew up, and now he's easily one of the top, I don't know, 10 or 5 or something.
Yeah, the reason it's great when they blow up, when these controversies blow up this degree, is that you get channels like, or videos or analysis like channels like Call Yops that we talked about last time Clyde was on, where they break it down to the point where like anyone can understand, like the Dr. Lupo chess controversy, where I knew nothing about chess, ended up realizing that chess is actually extremely interesting, and it's so specific that you can tell as soon as someone's cheating because they're using an AI. And also, I didn't know that the game was solved by like computers, but it turns out it is.
That's wild.
Which is really interesting. It's really interesting how the computer is smart in a different way to a human, because it can predict the future in chess, and even like the best chess grandmasters in the world can't do it. I find that so interesting because I'm like, it's just moving to pieces. Like, surely if you're smart enough, you can think that far ahead. No, it seems like that from an outside perspective, but when you know, like when you know the game, the computer can, just because of the amount of processing power it has, it can think further in the future than you. It always can. So I would like to see some of that stuff, some more of that stuff, really, especially to do with World of Warcraft. I need it explained to me like I'm a baby.
Yeah, those are the good ones. Like the one about Monster Hunter with the woman who was the blindfold. You know, they went into detail about like everything and why it was so, you know, suspicious and all that stuff. But going back to WoW Hardcore, I was watching a lot of those compilations lately, and I was like, man, this kind of makes me want to play again. I remember I had 2 level 30 characters before my friend stopped playing, and I'm like, I'm just gonna do some Scarlet Monastery runs. You know, let's just see what happens. I just kind of want to roll the dice and like I want to see how spicy it gets. Like this is exciting. And then I hopped on and I'm in Stormwind and it's just barren. There's like 2 or 3 people going across. I do a who is Stormwind. I get like 9 people.
Wow.
Like, the server's dead, dude. Like,
jeez.
I can't do anything. And because it's a hardcore server, you can't transfer. So I'm just there. And you know, I got refunded for the time I bought, but it just felt, you know, such anticlimactic because just how the to keep you in, Sean, like hardcore servers, like because, you know, it's only one death something. When they introduce new hardcore servers, they even normally when they introduce new servers, they won't let new players on for a while because like the server's so new that if you put in like top level players, it just messes up everything. Okay. So they let the server like populate and stuff. And then when they get at similar progression levels as other servers, then they'll let people go across. But in hardcore servers, like because you got this wear from not dying and stuff. It's just they just don't allow it. So now I'm stuck on the server that's dead. And
jeez,
yeah,
wow,
big rip.
Oof. I'm glad they were able to refund your time though, because that would not be fun.
I'm glad that's an option.
Yeah. But man, I really wanted to just see how far I could go. I wanted to record my gameplay too, so when I did die, I could submit it to the to the YouTube guy who makes all the compilations. Like, I'm in the compilation. There's me. I'm fucking up right there.
He's like, look at this fucking idiot dying.
I had a lot of close calls. Raid. Oh, even on these 2 characters, I had multiple times where I was like literally just slivers of life running away. I'm like, oh, I wish I recorded that.
That sounds heart-wrenching.
It is.
Oh my god.
It is. It's crazy. Like I'm telling you, the whole game experience is completely different in hardcore. Like I just got so into it. It was wild because like you're just locked in,
Yeah.
You're just fighting regular enemies, and in the normal game you just be like, 1, 2, 3, cast a spell, get it go. But in hardcore, you're like, okay, where am I going to go if I escape? Okay, okay, I got to escape. Okay, let me look at my life. It's like, oh god, I can't. Can I win this? Should I run? Like you're double guessing do I have all my buffs up? Do I have my +5 health? Like you're looking at every possible little help you can get, and it's wild. And when you help each other out in the world, it's not just like, oh, thank you, you saved me from running from the spirit healer for 30 seconds. It's more like, Jesus, you saved my life, thank you so much. Oh, you're such a bro.
Yeah, you literally saved my life. I would have died.
Right. Yeah. It's a very harrowing experience, I gotta say, and I kind of wish my friends went farther with it, but you
should pursue them.
Yeah.
You would like Path of Exile, Peter. There is a hardcore mode in Path of Exile as well. And
I actually am playing hardcore in the Path of Exile, cool. And I am playing it very carefully.
Yeah, and that's a game where you can get splatted instantly. By
exactly. Yeah. I picked a range class because like my other friend was melee, and he got destroyed. And I was like, makes sense. No.
Is that the game that Elon Musk cheated on? Or
yes.
Is that every game he's ever played?
Talking about controversies where you need context for, when he was just playing, he's just playing a character and stuff, and to anyone else watching, it's like, oh yeah, he's playing a video. But then the analysts watch, like, okay, no, a regular player wouldn't do this. Notice he named his maps Elon's maps. Okay, I just want you to point that out. And like as he's running through the dungeon, like he's pointing out, oh yeah, that item, one of the most valuable items on the game, right there, right? Yeah, the one he ran past and ignored. Yep. Okay. Anyways, and they're pointing out all these inconsistencies with his gameplay. It's like, oh yeah, he's #1 in the world. Okay, well then why wouldn't he?
So he was paying people, right, to boost him so that he could get in with the gamer boys.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And eventually he had to admit to it too, because he got called out hard.
Yeah.
So hard.
I saw the funniest comment on a Reddit thread about Elon's play, where someone was like, I don't think Elon really plays Path of Exile. And someone was like, just for context, Sean, there is an extremely, extremely rare currency in the game that drops in 1 out of like 10 million. It's called a Mirror of Calandra, or a Shard of Mirror of Calandra. It is so rare that if you find this one, it basically allows you to duplicate any item in the game.
What?
So this currency is extremely valuable. It is so valuable. There are people who play the game literally for a decade and do not see one of these drop. That is how rare it is. And someone in Reddit was like, I prayed so hard that a mirror would drop while Elon was playing, and he would just leave it on the ground because he wouldn't know what it is. Like, he would just walk right by it and be like, like, that's the level of memeing people in the Path of Exile community were doing to Elon. Like, they were just like, bro, you have no idea how to play this game. You're clicking the wrong things. You're like, it was a hoot. It was really funny.
Mm-hmm.
It was great.
Yeah, I love the memes about Elon talking to his Chinese spy friend.
Right.
Yeah, some good memes came from that.
Have you guys seen the video of Elon Musk's son pretending to like shoot Donald Trump and then saying, "You're not the president"?
What? No.
Okay.
Wow. No.
Okay, just look it up after recording. It's one of my favorite videos.
Is this
of all
recent?
Time.
This has to be recent because they were such bros.
When in office?
Whoa.
No. This was when they were bros. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, his son just
Oh,
kind of, I don't know,
wow.
had like a moment, and they're like standing in the Oval Office, and Trump is like giving a speech, and this kid's walking around, and then he starts like miming, holding like an AK, and like pointing it at Mr. Trump.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, it's hilarious. It's one of the funniest videos I've ever seen. A friend at work showed me. It's hilarious. Anyway, since we are low on time, Clyde, I really want to talk to you about Cyberpunk 2, but I was worried you weren't going to get a chance, so we're talking about it now. Okay.
Yes, I'm so freaking excited. I don't know, for anyone who is not aware, CD Projekt Red confirmed that the sequel to Cyberpunk 2077, has entered pre-production. They're staffing, artists and programmers. They've got the I think the writers coming in. I'm so freaking excited. I loved Cyberpunk 2077.
Me too.
I adore the characters in the game. Jackie Wells is such an amazing character. So many great sequences in the game. It wasn't a perfect game. Definitely had some problems, especially at launch. But man, I loved it. I when I saw that headline, I squealed with joy. I was like, yes, this is exactly what we need in the world right now. More Cyberpunk. Sean, what was your experience with Cyberpunk 2077?
Oh my god, I have such a love-hate relationship with that game. Love now, but like I was a launch rage gamer. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like the launch was so bad, and it was so just like disappointing that I was angry and resentful toward the game for a long time. And then I think fair. The next time I ever gave it a true chance was 2.0. The one where they literally fix the entire game to the point where it has zero bugs. The game has like zero bugs now. That was when I went back, and then I had a fantastic time with the game. I really, really loved the game. And this is funny because I was proven wrong, because back in the launch shitstorm, I kept saying, like, even bugs aside, this game is not that good. Like, I was one of those people. I was like, bugs aside, this game is like, it's less content worthy than many games that it's like claiming to be. It claimed to be like the biggest RPG of all time, and it claimed to be like like have like the most content. And in the trailer, they were like, "Oh, you can like buy this house and like customize this car and stuff."
Right.
And no, to be fair, like these criticisms are still valid because they did say all these things and they weren't true. But
they did. Yeah.
But anyway, I was wrong. I think that in a well-polished condition, Cyberpunk 2077 is a very good game. I think the story is endearing and sweet. And I like all the characters. The interactions you have with the side characters are mostly like just great, kind of in like in a Kingdom Come 2 vibe kind of way. I'm
gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be completely real with you. I think the scene in the heist mission where you and Jackie are hiding in the apartment and you watch Yorinobu kill his father, that scene is one of my favorite scenes in any video game I've ever played. I love that moment.
It's cinema, and it's peak CD Projekt Red. It's like it's got CD Projekt Red written all over it. Like most of the impactful cutscenes in the game are really like you can definitely tell this is a CD Projekt Red product in every way. It's very just like visceral and in depth and unique. It has like its own style to it. The way people speak, the mannerisms, the attention to detail. Like people, they made up their own like slangs and accents and shit in the game. Like everything is so like world building is like 10 out of 10 good. You can tell like it. Yeah, it's really impressive. It's peak CD Projekt Red stuff, to be honest.
Yeah. It's incredible. That moment, I got chills watching that moment. I got like I got hair standing up on my neck. It was like, so good. Incredible. And the characters are great and the writing is really good. But it's like you said, they made a lot of promises and a lot of those promises never came to fruition. And I think that's why people were so bummed. And that's, that's valid. Like that's valid. People were right to be like, hey man, half the shit you promised is not even here. So
they were acting for a long time like this was going to be like easily the most advanced and like most in-depth RPG, specifically said RPG of all time, and it wasn't even close. Like it wasn't even close to like as in-depth as some of the ones that were already like a few years old at the time of release. Like it was, I'd say it was behind in terms of like being an in-depth RPG. It was very behind. But anyway, so I guess that's a good place to start talking about the expectations for the sequel, because that's really interesting because I don't really know what to think about that. Even to the point of like, do you think this is a prequel or a sequel? like what you thought? I don't. This might be known already.
Wow.
I don't think it is, but I think you would know.
I'm not sure. I don't know, and I mean, it could go in either direction. I would prefer it to be a sequel, if I'm being honest. I'm not a huge fan of like prequel titles most of the time. But my one hope for it is that, and this is going to sound very like a paradox, but I honestly hope they scale it down a little bit. Like, I think I having the world be so big and the scale of it being so large and having Night City be so fucking huge, I think it probably hurt them in some ways. There's so many beautiful buildings that you can't enter. You can't enter most buildings in the game because there's just too many fucking buildings. And it's like, cut the scale of the game down by half to me and make it feel much more dense and much more fleshed out. That's how I'd prefer it. I'd prefer it to be more rich. 100%.
Like that. I think most people would agree. The game,
I think that's what people were expecting from it. Like when they were talking about how every person on the street would have their own home. They'd have their own schedule. They'd go to work. Everybody had lived their own life. You know, they'd all have their houses that you could just walk around and see. Like everything would be fleshed out.
This is how they describe the game, and
this is how they, and this is what I was expecting going into it. And I remember seeing it, and I was kind of like underwhelmed because it just felt like so many parts of existing games kind of pushed onto it. You know, like there's about a bit of Deus Ex here, and there's some GTA here, and you know. And a lot of the missions were kind of,
but it was like less. It was less. It had pieces of different games in them, but it was less impressive than all of those games, like in its totality, because it was just taking like small things from different games, but you know, because it's like taking so much inspiration from because it's mixing so many things, it isn't exceeding any of the any particular thing. It does, in my opinion, it doesn't have exceptional gunplay. It doesn't have exceptional driving. I actually think the driving in that game is quite jank to the point where it's not that satisfying to drive around. Agree. Yeah.
Well, that's why I stopped playing was the gameplay, because I remember I was like a sniper build. I just go around popping heads, and you know, if when you make too much noise or you get too many people killed, they start running after you. You gotta really, you know, play it smart, kind of hit and run and all that stuff. And fighting a boss like who likes to fight up close with the sniper rifle was definitely challenging. But then I remember I got to a part of the game where I got a rifle that could shoot through walls. And like, I don't know if I was even supposed to be in that area yet, but it just trivialized all fights. I just shoot people through the walls and like they couldn't even hit me back. And I kind of lost interest at that because, and I've seen a lot of people like find those paths where like they find this broken build. Like I remember my friend was playing and I watched him play and he had this broken melee build with like whips or something. He'd just go out and he just whip everything. He just spam whip. He just run to the enemy, spam whip, run to the next enemy, just spam whip. Yeah, just spamming whip. And like that was it. Wow. And like it felt like, you know, there was some much needed balance, you know, and I don't think this was the 2.0 one that you may have been playing. I think it wasn't actually released, but it was like a bit after. You know, so it may have still been some jank. They may have fixed it, but that's the reason I kind of got turned off from it, because the gameplay, which is such a big part, you know, for me, it just didn't resonate.
No,
but the graphics were great. That's the first time I've seen ray tracing in a game, and it looked good. Like, okay, that's the future.
They coped with the graphics so hard. Like, it was genuinely like you just said, like. I was looking at it thinking, this is actually, I feel like I'm playing a next gen, like I just got like a new console.
Yes.
And I'm seeing like new graphics for the first time. That's what the game looked like.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Everything.
You're going to laugh at me. I distinctly remember the first time I played the game, and you go through the prologue, you pick your background, and you after you do the first mission where you save Dorset and Jackie wants to borrow your car and he drives you back to your apartment. The first time I walked into V's apartment and like the window pops up and you can see Night City and it's like storming, I legitimately sat at the window for 5 minutes just staring out the window. I was just like, holy shit. Gaming is peaked. Like, I just sat at the fucking window. Like, I just looked out the window. I was like, this is so hype, and I'm not even doing anything. I'm just like, oh man, the rainy vibes, the city aesthetics. So good.
V's window is like she must have paid like 500 times the standing price for that view.
Right.
Like she has the
Right.
greatest view in Night City. It's literally a perfect field of view centered
Right.
on like the bazaar in the middle of her like residency. It's
crazy.
Oh my god, it's
So
absolutely fucking beautiful to look at.
That's
So
good.
we keep talking about Night City. Do you think the sequel is even taking place in Night City? Or are we going around the world?
Yeah,
Like,
well, you're talking
I
about
think-
sequels
yeah.
and prequels. It could be just something, that happened parallel or like some other place, like
mhm,
it
yeah.
could technically not be connected. I don't know how they did it with The Witcher, Witcher 1 and 2 and 3. I don't know how they connected those,
I don't know.
but I know there was like different books in the series that may have had something to do with it.
Yeah.
But it could be something, it could be neither of those. So
It could be neither of those.
Yeah.
It absolutely could. It could be simultaneous, but with connections, or it could have no connections. Yeah.
right.
I just hope that wherever it is, whether it is Night City or elsewhere or a combination, that they just focus on having a scale that they can deliver a great experience at, and not making it bigger. It's like, I want a smaller, focused, more dense experience. But I don't know. CD Projekt Red, they're a pretty good studio. I mean, they when they nail their set pieces, they're unlike anything else in the world of gaming. I mean, Witcher 3 has these set pieces too. It's like the Baron quest line is unforgettable. It's incredible. It's like, I mean, when they hit, and so I'm probably going to be day one no matter what. I mean, it's like, as long as my computer can run it, which probably won't be able to. My thing can't even run NIGHTREIGN, so I'm in trouble.
Oh no!
But,
no!
You're
Gonna need to upgrade it for that one.
Yeah, the DLC for Cyberpunk was really where like full CD Projekt Red was on display because you play the DLC. Oh, you must have played the DLC.
I did.
Right? Yeah,
I did. Absolutely, I loved it.
The opening set piece with rescuing the president and then fighting that
So
huge
good.
fucking spider robot. Like
Incredible.
It was like playing a completely different game to base game Cyberpunk.
was.
There's nothing like that. Even in the like the Adam Smasher boss fight, fucking lame. Like this giant spider was cool as shit. And the DLC is consistently good throughout. Good story. I remember going to the mission where you're a spy in the casino and like
I was thinking of that one too when you were talking. Yeah,
like this is CD Projekt Red cooking. Like these are really cool, interesting missions. They're not just running around sniping people in the head because you have OP weapons and an OP build. And then you're
not just whipping everything in tandem. You're actually at the casino table gambling with other people. Like it's pretty cool. It's like, damn, cool. This is pretty neat. Yeah, it'll be great. I'll be there day one no matter what. But my hope for it is they refine the scale, keep it smaller, tell a really great story, bake in some amazing set pieces, and keep it dystopian and cyberpunky. Oh man, I gotta start saving up for a better rig though, because my computer, if it's struggling with anything like that, I mean, GTA 6 is out of the question. Next Cyberpunk is out of the question. Hey, no.
GTA 6 won't launch on PC anyway. You don't have to worry about that one.
Right. It's funny.
But yeah, honestly, I mean, you get Cyberpunk 2 on PS5. Just get these things on consoles. Like, I'm so done with the life of like worrying about performance. Like, were you here, Peter, when I said that did I say it pre-show or on show that I paid for it twice because it's not crossplay? NIGHTREIGN. Yeah, but like just the performance on PC, having it on PC and seeing like that, like just that reminded me why I always default to getting these things on PS5, because I don't want to sit here worrying about what my PC is capable of. I don't want to sit here worrying about if the port's bad. I don't want to sit here worrying about what little microchip is aligned by 1 nanometer on the left peripheral of my motherboard, so I'm losing 0.7 frames. I don't want to do any of that. I just wanted to like download the game.
I'm the polar opposite of that.
I know.
I'm like, you don't want to limit yourself by the consoles. You want to go for the PC experience where you can go blast past what the consoles do. You get all the customization for all the options. You can put in mods in you want, the mouse and keyboard, and like there's just so much more. And like, it does. You gotta keep your system current and stuff. But man, it's just so much more
system current,
when
like a bag every year.
Peter, are you a PC modder? Do you do your own installs and change out your CPUs and stuff and like motherboard and stuff? Are you do you build your own PC?
Yeah.
Oh dang, I respect that. That's amazing.
It's
I would
It is
screw everything up.
amazing.
It's a lot easier than
literally
people
have
think.
It's I'm in between. I've been doing it for a long time.
You just need like a screwdriver and like that's
nah,
it.
It's not. No, he's underselling. He's
No,
underselling the fuck
I'm not
out
buying
of it.
that.
He's underselling the fuck out of it.
It's just compatibility between pieces is the main thing.
It's not just that. Like the way you have to assemble the case and root cable.
Yeah,
you have to get like some fucking do some homework and plan like your cable management so the cables aren't like.
No, cable management's optional. Come on, everyone knows that.
Okay, he just admitted to having the trampiest PC.
I mean, for so many builds, I just didn't care about cable management.
I mean, that's probably I'm jealous of that because that means people probably like just have less stress. But I am not like that. I'm OCD. My PC is like immaculate. There's no cable showing, and I can't. Which means, but like, I'll stress for like hours trying to make that happen, even though no one looks at it. I don't look at it, but like. God, this is why I can't do it. Like same with PC. Like, if I know I'm not getting like every last frame, it pisses me off as well. Yeah. So. Yeah.
I mean that's the mindset, I guess.
Mindset loses you your fucking life.
Well, the next time we talk, friends, we'll be living in a different world. The Nintendo Switch 2 will be out. So.
Will it?
Get
When's
ready
the
for
Switch
the
2
gaming
coming
revolution. Comes out in like 4 or 5 days. Comes out on the 6th, I think.
June 6th, I think.
I didn't know we were that close. Yeah. We need to cover that.
I heard some people got it early, but they couldn't use it because Nintendo didn't allow them to because it's not activated.
It is software locked
or something.
Yeah, it is literally software locked. You have to connect to a Nintendo server, or the date is baked in. Yeah,
that's so Nintendo.
It is so Nintendo. It's so Nintendo. I'm not buying it. I am full disclosure. I am not getting a Switch 2. No value there. If I was going to spend $450 on something, I'd upgrade this computer.
450 bangaroos.
Yep.
Oh my god. Yeah, well, I didn't even know that, but that'll be good to cover next week then. See how the see what the press is saying about that.
I will tune in and listen to y'all yap about it.
Okay, that's we are approaching 2 hours, and I am like tired as fuck. I don't know if you know this thing happened again where it's pitch black in my room, even though it was full daylight. Clyde's got a fucking fireworks show going on in his room.
Yeah, sometimes when I thumbs up, it does that. I don't know why. I'm not sure.
Oh, do you have like the emote recognition thing on? Is that why?
I think I do. Sometimes? I think it's got some stupid emote recognition where it does that. But...
Really?
I thought you were doing this deliberately the whole time.
No, I don't know. I can't make it.
What the fuck?
Peter is hacking.
I'm ending this shit. Before we get fucking brain dead. All right. Thank you so much. Anyone still listening, not your friend on YouTube, Clyde, amazing guy, amazing YouTube channel. Go and check it out. Oof. Okay.
Right back at you. It's always
joining us. Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Goodbye.
Later.
Get out of here.